It's nice to have you join us yet again. This is still Enterprise Friday. Reaching you from Enterprise Television, let's head straight to our conversation for today. The federal government has confirmed that Nigeria is working closely with international partners, including the United States, to combat terrorism and violent extremism, following recent airstrikes on terrorist locations in the northwest of Nigeria. This confirmation was contained in a statement released on Friday by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. According to the ministry, the strikes were carried out as part of ongoing intelligence cooperation and strategic coordination between Nigeria and its partners. The collaboration, it said, is based on established international practice and bilateral agreements that allow for intelligence sharing, operational support, and joint security efforts while fully respecting Nigeria's sovereignty and international laws. The government emphasized that protecting civilian lives remain the core objective of all counter-terrorism operations. It stressed that Nigeria is committed to safeguarding national unity and upholding the rights and dignity of all citizens, regardless of religion or ethnic backgrounds. The terrorist attacks against any group, they said, according to the statement, are unacceptable and run contrary to Nigeria's value as well as global peace and security. We have Emeka Madunago. Thank you so very much, Emeka, for hanging on.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Beautiful. Emeka, I watched the interview granted the foreign minister. The body language wasn't looking like someone who was excited for the strike. He said that he had had a talk with Mike Rubio and 19 minutes before the strike and another additional 5 minutes. But the look on his face is not looking like someone who is excited. He further said that this was not a strike against any religious group or a religion, but against a terrorist. Do you think we should believe what this man is saying, or is he trying to sit in the middle, not knowing where to pander towards at this point, knowing that lots of his brothers and comrades who protested in Kano that they shouldn't strike anybody because they are their brothers? What's your take on this?
Thank you. Ask them who sent them to protest. You just gather some hungry people, give them 1,000 naira, 500 naira, and tell them to carry placards that they don't even know. Have you forgotten the protest that happened in Abuja some time ago? When some women were asked by the media, what is on your placard? They said, I don't know. You were just giving to me. What's the meaning of what's on your placard? I don't know. So that tells you that protest business is a big industry in Nigeria that, well, that's that. Basically, of course, if you say the look on his face, didn't portray a joyful reception of the attacks, yes, it's a big indictment. I mean, you're right, it's a big indictment. Because you've been telling us you'll be carrying out airstrikes, but, that the U.S. have to come and carry out those airstrikes, shows that, you have not been doing well enough. And then, they said that they were the ones that gave intelligence and all that to the U.S. It doesn't cut it. Because if you gave it, why would you give intelligence when you have been carrying out airstrikes? You say you've been carrying out airstrikes against terrorist positions, and then you still gave the intelligence to the U.S. to go and carry out. It shows that you are not even convinced about what you are saying. You know that you are maybe telling a lie, or you're just trying to, be funny. So that's basically it, The U.S. had to, look at what President Donald Trump said. He even announced it. He said, yes, that at his command, so and so and so has happened. Let me tell you, let me give you a little background. In around 2002 or so, the U.S. formed the U.S. Africa Command, and they asked Nigeria to join. Then Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Victor Malu, was understanding that no, that how can America be asking Nigeria to come and learn how to deal with security threats? That instead, it's Nigeria that should teach America that we've gone for peacekeeping, we've gone for this and that, as if that had to do with anything. Meanwhile, Victor Malu didn't know that Boko Haram has started gaining roots in Nigeria. After that, 2002, you didn't know. So other African countries, some other African countries actually acquiesced to the U.S. Request, and they joined what was called the U.S. Africa Command. But Nigeria didn't. They're just grandstanding all of that. Okay, and then look at in 2001 when there was this killing of civilians in a town in I think Plateau State, and then for that reason the U.S. Suspended military aid to Nigeria, and that's they refused to sell arms and to share intelligence with Nigeria. But so you can see how this thing has built, this trajectory, formed, because so the terrorists started building on these things. Meanwhile, if Nigeria had, for instance, agreed to join the U.S. Africa Command, for instance, we may have had a drone base in Nigeria, even though people have been saying, no, don't have a U.S. military base. You see all this grandstanding, a lot of this grandstanding is born out of ignorance, willful ignorance and foolishness. No country can do everything all by its own. You don't need to be measuring strength with the United States. You'll be crushed. You can easily remove your president. Look at what's happening in Venezuela. If the U.S. wants to remove Nicolas Maduro, it can easily remove him. What will it take the U.S. to remove Maduro? So, but the thing is this: when you cooperate with the international community, you will enhance the capability of your country to react to emergent or existing threats, and then to prevent them from escalating or giving rise to worse threats. That's a more intelligent response. But when you are grandstanding, no, we have the capability. You have the capability, and the ragtag terrorists can overrun your military bases. Huh? They can. Ragtag terrorists could come to the point of almost invading Aso Rock some years ago. Do you remember when they attacked the DSS headquarters, Yellow House, that's just behind the villa? If they could have that capability, if you were so strong, how come they had that capability? They were able to strike churches right within the Federal Capital Territory. They were able to follow a former Secretary of Police, ring him right into the police headquarters and detonate a bomb. And meanwhile, you have the capability. I can go on and on and on and on and on. You have the capability. All those is just foolish grandstanding. Because corrupt politicians, when you don't bring them into an issue, they now make a stronger now because they want to make money. All of those who have been talking rubbish about, when Jonathan was hitting Boko Haram, they said he was killing their brothers, their northern brothers. Of course, those ones were looking for money. They were looking for a share of the pie, so that if they were going to be contractors, or if government was thinking of pacifying, quote unquote, to permit the use of that word, pacifying those terrorists, then they too will have a share of the money. It's not about the people. They don't care about the people. As far as they are concerned, the people are just collateral damage. They don't give a hoot about the people. They don't care. So these are the things we must take note of. Thankfully, social media has opened our eyes, to the dimensions of terrorism. There are different dimensions. And then we now have access to information to map emerging trends and to now know how to deal with them in real time. So the bombing should serve as a wake-up call to Nigeria. You can't continue to grandstand about sovereignty. Who cares the hell about your sovereignty? Talking about international law. Listen, if you're a threat to the global community, other countries, more powerful countries, have a right to invade your country. In fact, it gets worse for you. If the U.S., the U.S. has veto power in the U.S., if they initiate, a resolution, of course, I know Russia, a resolution is okay to lawfully invade Nigeria, and deploy ground troops. Of course, Russia and China will, as usual, put up a show of opposing, but the U.S. will veto. And that makes it worse. Because what it means is that they will deploy ground troops in your country. And they will stay for as long as it's necessary. And if it comes to regime change, they'll remove your government. There are so many things. It's just a sequence of things. So at this stage, Nigeria cannot not cooperate with the United States. Because this is not just about the United States. Europe is there. You saw the statements, China, Russia, where are they? If they cared so much about Nigeria, why haven't they over the years committed funds, committed troops, committed equipment to helping Nigeria to defeat insurgency? Do you know how many Chinese have been arrested in illegal mining in this country? Is it those ones whose government will come and help you to fight terrorism? Huh? Is it those ones? When the terrorists are security men for illegal miners, some of whom are from their country. So let's be more intelligent in dealing with with these issues. Let's stop all this grandstanding and unnecessary huffing and puffing, sending ignorant presidential aides to TV stations to talk nonsense. No. There must be a nuanced view. You must put things in context. Terrorism is a dangerous, is a danger to world peace. Look at what happened in Australia the other day. The Bondi Beach attack. Huh? Look at what has happened here and there. Terrorists killing people here and there. In Nigeria, decimating whole, villages. Huh? Decimating whole villages. Taking over communities and renaming them. And somebody is telling me rubbish about sovereignty. Come on, keep your sovereignty in your pocket. If you had sovereignty, you will contain those threats. Because they tell you, a gun crime in America. And I said, listen, when you make these statements, hope you know these people, they map you. They will look at who is making the statement. They will draw a pattern. And that will determine the level of their response. It doesn't matter, okay, where are all those ignorant presidential aides who are going to TV stations and talking nonsense? Where are they now? Where they come out now? Because the Nigerian government has said that, yes, they were the ones that asked the U.S. to carry out the bombing. They were the ones that provided intelligence. So what are we talking about? It's not like telling somebody, please come and flog my children. They are recalcitrant. So what is anybody going to say again? And these things will continue. Because I saw, that foolishly, people, commentators with northern name, have been saying, no, that the airstrikes, there are no casualties, that they are just on empty fields. And I say, you guys don't know what is coming. You just saw a dress rehearsal. You don't know what is coming. Will build up. It will build up to something. And now that the Nigerian government has said that it invited the US, it's going to get worse for you. Because those are your comments, you can get arrested for it. Because this is a national security matter. And they should remember too that Tinubu has declared an emergency on security. There's an existing state of emergency on security. And so when they make all these comments, they should be very careful. They should be very careful. Because Nigeria right now needs to be secure. We can't be talking of inviting foreign investors. We can't be talking of enlarging the economy. Thinking of moving to, a $1 trillion economy by 2030. And then we allow hooligans, hoodlums, ragtag bandits, ragtag criminals to, just go about detonating bombs, killing people, invading communities in the guise of carrying out one stupid and senseless agenda. No, it can't be allowed. Thank you.
It's quite very interesting that you elaborated all of these facts and you fleshed them up. You rightly called it huffing and puffing of those within the corridors of power, especially the media aides who know little or nothing about diplomacy and coming to promise the world, the Nigerians, that the United States will not come. Daniel Bwala on several occasions will say, no, nothing would happen. They are in the talk and all that. But lots of things are actually changing. But Emeka, what does this mean for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu? Because right now he is in the cul-de-sacs. He is, I love to believe, he is quite confused to some extent because he is losing grounds internationally, even within the country, and especially with the northern part of Nigeria that he had always used as an opportunity to regain back his relevance in 2027. So what does this mean for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at this point?
What it means for him is that, look, he has no choice. He has no choice but to cooperate with the United States. Because it can be escalated. It could get worse. If the US decides to make it a coalition, because look at Israel yesterday, see what the Israeli Prime Minister said. That's another partner. UK has already condemned terrorism in Nigeria. France, that Tinubu is been running around their president. Look at what they've said. Another country too. So if the US should build a broad coalition, it could get worse. Build a broad coalition. All they simply do is just go to the UN Security Council and get a mandate. They will lead it. If you begin to talk of sovereignty, it's all right. They will go to the UN. Look at the UN missions around Africa now. UNISCOM and the rest of them. In South Sudan, in Sudan, name it, in different places. So they'll just go to the United Nations Security Council and get a resolution empowering a broad-based global coalition against terrorism with Nigeria as the focus. And that's all. Because what they will just say is that look at the Sahel running all the way from North Africa to East Africa, all the way to Eritrea. Running from around Burkina Faso, Mauritania, Mali. And then, that the Sahel, we need to deal with terrorism and security threats in the Sahel. And using Nigeria as a staging point. Then it's all over for you. Yeah. Because you won't have a say in anything they do. And that's it. You won't have a say in how long they will stay. And whatever other collateral damage that might result from it. So I think the implication for President Bola Tinubu is that he has allowed things to get out of hand. He should have known that when he was accepting the offer of a Muslim ticket in 2021, that if he accepted it, he will get the support of the North. He should have known what he was getting himself into. And he should have rejected that bait. But because of desperation for power, he accepted it. This was a bait that Buhari rejected in 2014, 2015. Buhari rejected that bait of people even suggested that Tinubu should be his running mate in 2015. But Buhari rejected it. Because people told him that, what you're going, the message you'll be passing to the international community. And then look at it. A Northerner rejected it, a Southerner accepted it. And then that, of course, seemingly emboldened the terrorists, to go on their dangerous missions, on their destructive missions. So the thing for him is that for now he can't do anything about it, and he should just, and the North, of course, the framing right now, the narrative is that, of course, he has brought in America to fight the North. Yes. That's the basic thing. Yes. And so all his desperation, bringing in governors from other parties to the APC, bringing senators and reps, it has failed. They've just, there was this story that each governor was giving $250 billion. That's money that's gone. No? You should just go and recover the money and tell the governors to go back to their parties. Because that one has failed. In fact, even needs to even talk about surviving now. 2027 is gradually looking like it won't be realized for him. Getting a re-election. Getting re-elected in 2020, it's looking like it won't be realized. So that is it. So all he needs to do now is to, first of all, find a way to stay in power. Now look at the North already talking about that they will resist his new tax laws. So that is that, and then look at this bombing. And the United States will continue to bomb. They will continue to do it. Israel has come into the fray. So is anybody's guess how things will pan out by next year? So I think he should just he should drop this his desperation for power. This is desperation for a second term. And as some rumors have it, desperation for life presidency. He should drop it. Because already his Muslim ticket has set up the narrative.
Are you still there? Are you still there, Mecca? Wow, that's quite explosive at this point, because the chicken is coming home to roost at this point, because the center is no longer holding. And these are some of the things that we keep talking about. What goes around comes around. To some extent, when leaders have failed, gruesomely failed to do the needful, when the Machiavellian ideology is what a leader embraces, thinking that he is building a fortress for himself, these are some of the things that they see. They don't see the future, and taking care of the present that can determine the future is not within their reach, and these are some of the things that they see. I sincerely hope that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu would get out of this cul-de-sacs that he has deliberately created for himself, for love of power, for love of interest, for love of influence. And lots of people would say, lots of pundits would say, not the Nigerian forced policy at no point. We hope things will get better. We hope that our sovereignty would be regained back, but that can only happen when good leadership is on the table. That's my time for today. Thank you so very much, Emeka, for your time equally. We truly do appreciate you. And we have to leave it for this now. And I'd love to say, have yourself a wonderful day. Please do well to visit us. You can find us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally rewatch, download, and equally share to friends and folks when you visit us at Enterprise TV7. I am Henry Igwebi. Have yourself a splendid Boxing Day. And God bless you. God bless Nigeria. I'll see you on another episode. Bye-bye.